All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of 5 Minutes with Mike. I'm your host, Michael Beckford. Hope you guys are enjoying your day. Hope you guys are enjoying life, health, and strength, having a conversation with the people that you love. And we're going to get into today's topic, Saggers Incorporated. See you guys on the other side. This is 5 Minutes with Mike. Our news, our voice, our issues. Believe that. Alright, guys, let's talk about the sagging ass niggas. Listen, I think that the aspect of sagging, now mind you, I did a short YouTube short on this particular topic. You can see in the description. I did an episode. Well, not an episode, I'm sorry. I did a YouTube short on this topic of saggers. But I wanted to dive a little bit deeper in the long form of video. So here we are in the topic of, dudes that sag, right? Sagging, to me, has become a cultural phenomenon. Obviously, many of us know that sagging, and I mentioned this in that short video, comes from a prison culture. As far as the history of it, but now guys that sag, both straight, gay, DL, trans, whatever, both now guys that sag, a lot of them sag without necessarily knowing that history or care less about the history of it. And honestly, we got a lot of prima donnas when it comes down to dudes that are sagging. You know what I'm saying? Like literally they're matching their boxer briefs to their outfits. So essentially their PSDs and other style of underwear is basically becoming a part of their fit, essentially. And you guys all see the dudes that have the the skinny jeans on, and then their ass kind of like perfectly sculpted along the threads of their skinny jeans to a degree, so it all kind of like just seamlessly show, while basically making an outfit of it. Now the thing is, when it comes down to the guys that are sagging, it's a universal thing. So it's not a gay thing, it's not a straight thing, definitely not a straight thing, because a lot of these guys are DL that do sag, but it's a universal thing because at the end of the day, everybody has to see it. They walk around and it's, just obvious. There's certain places in which, and when I say certain places, there's certain places in which the male, particularly black males I'm going to speak on right now, are just literally having their, ass hanging out to the sky. I mean, to say it bluntly. And it's an amazing thing because, when you see a woman on South Beach and she's wearing her, her little, tight, fine shit type stuff, like, she's going to get hollered at, right? Like, literally somebody's going to holler at her because she's advertising, essentially. Now, I'm not saying that, because a woman wears a certain type of clothing, that means to be derogatory towards her, that means to belittle her or anything of that nature. But what I am saying is, if a woman sexualizes herself to that particular degree, then essentially when you put out an ad, an advertisement, well, you're going to get some callbacks. Okay. It is what it is. And so, yeah, like, don't be disrespectful to her. Say, speak to her just like you would normally. But unfortunately, obviously, based upon the way that the woman may dress, dudes may address her as such. Okay. Like I said, not saying it's right, but I'm just saying it is what it is. Now, similar thing that happens when it comes down to males, but honestly, the exact opposite happens. Males will show their ass, like, everything from, like, I've seen all kind of draws, like from condoms on their draws, Fruit Loops on the draws. That ought to tell you something, right? Fruit Loops. But Everything. You know what I'm saying? From the favorite cereal to whatever designs that, PSD and the other fashion designers that, come up with these silky draws that show everything from the backside to the front print. You know what I'm saying? Dudes are like really like want to show that. Like they're really advertising that. This episode of 5 Minutes with Mike is brought to you by Michael D. Beckford's newest book, HOMEBOYS. Everybody has a homeboy, or friends call his own. The best friend you kick it with at the family barbecue. The one you trust to bring around your lady without raising a red flag. A homeboy will play video games, smoke, and chill. A homeboy is a nigga you can ride or die, and the one you sleep with on the low. HOMEBOYS, available in ebook and paperback or wherever books are sold. Like they're really comfortable with when they leave their household that say, hey, I don't mind looking like this so others can see me. And the thing is, once again, when you do an advertisement, let's say you're doing an ad on TV, you cannot control who sees your ad, right? Because you put it out there for everybody. It's a universal ad. When we just watched the Super Bowl a few weeks ago, the Super Bowl ads weren't that, oh, wait a minute, if you are this, don't watch. No, they're trying to capture everyone's attention. And so when you're sagging your ass, you're capturing everyone's attention within the vicinity that you are located at, that you're walking around. Like literally from 100 feet away, I can see a nigga that's sagging. Like point blank, period. But when it comes down to dudes that are sagging versus, let's say, the women that's wearing her Daisy Dukes or whatever, swimsuit, whatever she got on, dudes get highly offended if another guy were to come up to them and approach them based upon the ad that they're displaying, okay? And what's the ad? Once again, the ad is their ass, okay? They're displaying their ass for the world to see, and if you come up to them to say something or acknowledge or compliment or whatever the case may be, 2 or 3 things may happen when they come down to it. Number one, they may be DL, but if they think you're ugly, they're going to tell you, I don't F with that, G-ish, right? We know what the G word is, right? That's 1. 2, you may straight up get you may straight up get knocked out in a case because they may be a straight male presenting guy. And they really don't F with, what you got going on. And they feel maximum offense. While at the same time, they're wearing clothing that's attracting everyone. Okay? Now, the third thing may happen. And this third thing is, they may say, okay, cool, bro. I appreciate, you saying what you saying. Listen, I don't really get down like that. But listen, you can still be homies, whatever. Here's my IG. Here's my Snap. Here's my whatever. You know what I'm saying? TikTok, whatever you want to, whatever social media you want to exchange. And then come to find out down the road, that person really does get down into that particular DL universe. They just didn't want to admit it at that particular moment, or want to kind of peep you out first, look at your socials, understand who you are, make sure you're not somebody that can out them, essentially. And then they feel comfortable to then, approach, essentially, at that point. But you can't just outright approach them in that manner of like, yo, bruh, like, yeah, man, hey, damn, nigga, like, you got a nice little ass, bro. Like, I like that shit, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? What's up? You can't do that. You can virtually. It's just that you may end up with consequence 1 and consequence 2, especially if especially if these are straight presenting males. Now, if it's a feminine presenting male, then go ahead, shoot your shot. You know what I'm saying? Shoot your shot. It's most time they not gonna imply number 1 and 2. They're gonna, be on number 3. But another thing to talk about with the sagging guys that shocks me is when they say, wait a minute, bro, you think I'm gay? Like, I didn't say you was gay, but you're presenting as if you're looking for something that's not heteronormative activity. Now, once again, like I said earlier, straight dudes sag, everybody sag, but real men don't sag. So let's get this part out of the way. Real men, like from my father's culture, my uncle culture, from that culture, Because especially since they know the history behind sagging, they're not sagging. They're putting a belt to ass and they're walking around and making sure they, you know what I'm saying, they ain't got nothing to do with no trying to draw that type of attention. Okay? If there's anybody gonna be hollered at, it's gonna be them hollering at a woman that they trying to holler at. But ain't nobody would never approach them just based upon the fact that they, you know what I'm saying, they got their ass hanging out all over the floor. You know what I'm saying? That ain't happening. Now, another thing too, that a popular YouTuber brought up. I'm not going to mention their name because they got some legal trouble right now, but let's just say that they're a whisperer. A popular YouTuber mentioned was that, you know, honestly, a lot of dudes that are, you know, actually, you know, gay, they don't sag. Like they're not sagging. They're not sagging like that. It's mostly the DL trade guys, whatever you want to call them. They're usually the ones that sagging because they're trying to find some freedom that still keep them in that heteronormative box while basically still attracting what they're attracting. Because at the end of the day, like, dudes like attention. Like, we may try to act like it ain't the case, but dudes like attention just like females, especially the ones that are looking for attention from other males, right? And it's crazy because if you think about it, a lot of dudes do stuff to impress their homeboys. Now, we may say, yeah, they trying to, you know what I'm saying, impress they females, they ladies, and that is a case as well. But how many times dudes talk about cars and then like, okay, they want a bigger car than they homeboy got. They want a car similar to their homeboy got. Like, literally, guys grow up, especially in this modern age men that Ant CEO talks about. Guys grow up in the mindset of, you know what I'm saying, how do I impress and how do I be impressed upon in that particular measure. And so when you think about these guys that are sagging, man, there's hundreds of different variables to it. You can't necessarily pinpoint one and say, oh yeah, he probably get down or he don't get down. At the end of the day, you will never truly know unless obviously you speak to them. But if you do speak to someone that is a part of Saggers Incorporated, you gotta be mad careful because you just never know what energy they may be on when it comes down to it. Because some may just be a hood nigga that likes to sag, has nothing to do with no gay-ish, and you know what I'm saying, it could be the last day and the last person you talk to. And it's unfortunate because at the end of the day, you just gave the person a compliment or whatever. But because of the fact that sometimes with some people, their masculinity can get in the way of just like life, and they're, you know, afraid of being outed per se, then, you know what I'm saying, then they take to violence and do something that, you know what I'm saying, they were advertising this whole time for you or somebody else to approach. All right, guys, let me know what you think about this in the comments section. Yeah, like and subscribe. Have a great day. Some of your favorite books from the creative mind of Michael D. Beckford are coming soon to quicklit.com.